I'm falling. Shouldn't be trusting me, I could be making it all up, you know. I control, you don't know, babe, I'm a danger to myself. I control, you don't.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are tuning in. This is Unapologetically Me, featuring me. No special guest, just me, unless you want to talk about this new microphone that I got. Hopefully, you guys can hear me a lot better, and I don't have to scream, and we're better with the sound, right? Okay, so let's do this. Gabby Petito, we have an update. The family has finally, yes, it finally happened. The Petito family has broken their silence and are finally standing up and saying, you know what? These people need to go down for what they've done to my family. They have filed a civil suit against the Laundries. Now, many of us have been just waiting for this to happen. The grace that the Petito family has shown during this entire excruciating process has been commendable, to say the least. They have gone through a parent's worst nightmare, made even more nightmarish by the Laundrie family's response, or shall I say lack thereof. This lawsuit, in my opinion, has been a long time coming and carefully executed by the Petito family and their lawyers. The allegations that they have put into this lawsuit are allegations that many of us have also had from the start. Due to the manner in which Gabby's family has handled themselves during this entire investigation, I feel that for them to file this suit and allege these allegations with the court, they must have all the evidence that they need and that they claim to have. So what do we know about this lawsuit so far? Well, Joeseph Petito and Nichole Schmidt filed this lawsuit against Chris and Roberta Laundrie on March 10th of 2022, so just last week. Contained within the document are several bombshell allegations that were not previously mentioned by the FBI. It basically states that Brian's parents, Chris and Roberta Laundrie, knew about their daughter, Gabby Petito's murder, and they were working to help Brian Laundrie possibly flee the States. That's right. They were helping Brian possibly leave the country. Now, this right away had me thinking about that mysterious $20,000 in the bank account that Brian all of a sudden had. He went from using Gabby's credit card / bank card to all of a sudden having a bank account with $20,000 in it. Now, I had always suspected that that was a new account. A lot of people were thinking, if he had $20,000, then why was he using Gabby's card? Well, because I don't think he had $20,000 until after the fact, until his parents put money into this bank account for him to help him flee. That's something that I had always thought. Again, that is speculation, but it looks like maybe that will come into play. I don't know. They obviously have some pretty strong evidence. So now the question would be, does the FBI have record of this deposit? And was it made after August 27th of 2021, which is allegedly the day that Gabby Petito was murdered? According to the documents, it's believed that Gabby died on August 27th of 2021 at the hands of Brian Laundrie, which the FBI said last month when they made that public statement that Brian Laundrie did in fact claim responsibility for the death of his girlfriend Gabby Petito in his journal. This journal was found with Brian's remains in Sarasota, Florida late last year, otherwise to us known as the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park in Northport, Florida. While a coroner determined Gabby's cause of death was manual strangulation, the civil suit claims that Gabby also suffered blunt force trauma to the head and neck, which I showed in that video the report where it came out that there was more to her injuries, but the cause of death was the manual strangulation. But she did have some other injuries, and this civil suit has those injuries listed. This lawsuit claims that BRIAN Laundrie told his parents what happened to Gabby on or about the 28th of August, just one day later. So just one day after he caused her death, he allegedly told his parents what had happened. That's before he even arrived home. Because on that same date, August 28th, Chris and Roberta Laundrie spoke with attorney Stephen Bertolino. And on September 2nd of 2021, they sent him the retainer. So that was one day after BRIAN returned home in Gabby's van alone, without Gabby. That very next day, they paid that retainer. The lawsuit also states that BRIAN Laundrie sent text messages back and forth to himself from Gabby's phone after her death to hide the fact that she was in fact deceased. The suit also specifically mentions a text from Gabby's phone to Nichole Schmidt, who is Gabby's mother, on August 27th that referred to Gabby's grandfather by his first name, Stan. Nichole had previously said that this was always a red flag to her because Gabby never referred to her grandpa by his first name. And really, who does? That's quite unusual, unless the family is maybe estranged, or maybe certain families feel that you need to call them by their first name. But it's very rare these days for, just a regular family, for kids to call their grandparent by their first name. It also states that BRIAN sent an additional text from Gabby's phone on August 30th to Nichole that read, "No service in Yosemite Park," in an effort to deceive her into believing that her daughter was still alive. The suit then lays out some of what happened in the days after Gabby's death, but before an official missing persons alert went out. Gabby's family says there was no contact between the two families after BRIAN came home to Northport alone, driving Gabby's van on September 1st of 2021. It talks about how Roberta blocked Nichole's phone number and also on Facebook around the time that Gabby was reported missing. I mean, sus as heck. Who does that? This poor family. So, if you've been following this case, then you're aware that before the missing persons alert went out, Gabby's family was trying desperately to get the Laundrie family to tell them something, anything, where BRIAN last saw her, where he left her, why he was there alone with her vehicle. And they couldn't get anything. And eventually, Roberta just blocks the family on everything. Gabby's family says there was no contact between the two families after BRIAN came home to Northport alone. The lawsuit also mentions the vacation that the Laundries took to Fort DeSoto Park while Gabby's family was suffering. And, in those photos and everything from that trip, BRIAN's sitting there with his nephews, laughing, smiling, like this wonderful little family vacation is going on, kind of a last hurrah, a lot of people think. And, this family is suffering, not knowing if their daughter is alive, dead, where she is. No, they don't know what state she was last in. They know nothing. And these people are out having a little hurrah, oh, well, BRIAN just did this, allegedly. And so now let's have, a kind of farewell, because he's going to be leaving the country. Now we're going to figure that one out. According to the documents, the Petito family also believe that the Laundrie family were planning to help BRIAN leave the U.S., while Joeseph Petito and Nichole Schmidt were desperately searching for information concerning their daughter. Chris and Roberta Laundrie were keeping the whereabouts of BRIAN Laundrie secret, and it is believed that they were making arrangements for him to leave the country. Now, these were things that a lot of us had speculated from the start, right? A lot of people still to this day don't even believe that he's dead. They think that he has, in fact, fled the country. I don't personally believe that. I do believe that he is dead. However, what you guys are going to hear about this, anyone who was thinking that, who now is not thinking that, may start to think it again, because there may be some proof here and some evidence. I mean, allegedly they have this proof that shows that they were planning for him to leave the country. So what that is, I am very interested to know. As of right now, we don't know it, but it's got to be there, or they wouldn't be doing this. Like I said, the family has been nothing but gracious this entire time. They have not dragged the Laundries through the mud at all. And, I don't know that I would be so gracious if it were to have happened to my daughter and her boyfriend's family knew things. I don't know that I would be so contained. So for them to come about and make, these claims and file this suit, to me says they have enough evidence and they're done. They're over it. They're like, you know what? It doesn't look like you guys are going to face any type of criminal charges. Brian's gone. Like, you guys are going to pay for what you did one way or another. So Christopher and Roberta Laundrie exhibited extreme and outrageous conduct which constitutes behavior under the circumstances which goes beyond all bounds of decency and is regarded as shocking, atrocious, and utterly intolerable in a civilized community, the lawsuit says. I mean, let me repeat that. So one of the phrases in this lawsuit says, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie exhibited extreme and outrageous conduct which constitutes behavior under the circumstances which goes beyond all possible bounds of decency and is regarded as shocking, atrocious, and utterly intolerable in a civilized community, the lawsuit says. Harsh, and every word is deserved, in my opinion. One example of this was the lack of response to a letter that Gabby's family wrote and had their attorney deliver to the Laundries. In this letter were demonstrations of the anguish that the Petito family was going through. In sentences such as these, we ask you to put yourselves in our shoes. We haven't been able to eat or sleep. Our lives are falling apart. Please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Petito and the family blocks them. They block them. Please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. That was all they wanted to know. They could have gotten a text message back saying, Wyoming. Tetons National Park, right? Not even that. Well, of course, because if they knew, then that would bring up more questions. These people need to pay for what they did. So Joeseph Petito and Nichole Schmidt are seeking damages of at least $100,000, according to the documents filed this past week. And honestly, that is such a small amount. It really shows that this is not about money for them. This is about justice, stating that they suffered pain and mental anguish as a result of the willfulness and maliciousness of the Laundries. WFLA reached out to lawyer Steve Bertolino, who initially stated no contact, who initially stated no comment. I mean, duh. That guy, if he can say no comment for all of this, that will be his dying words. No comment. He later sent a follow-up text message, however, to WFLA Now's JB Buono, B-I-U-N-N-O. As I have maintained, now this is Stephen Bertolino saying this, as I have maintained over the last several months, the Laundries have not publicly commented at my discretion, my direction, which is their right under the law. Assuming everything the Petitos allege is true, which we deny, This lawsuit does not change the fact that the Laundries had no obligation to speak to law enforcement or any third party, including the Petito family. This fundamental legal principle renders the Petitos' claims to be baseless under the law. When asked for comment, Nichole said she had none other than the claim speaks for itself. Now, Stephen Bertolino and his BS statements about this case from the start have always just, they've really just been almost like a knife in the side. It's like, we understand you're the lawyer. We understand that there is the law. And yes, under law, no, they had every right to, exercise their rights and not speak. But I think what the Petitos want here is just an acknowledgement that they were wronged. Brian, with his own hands, took their daughter from them, and then his family tried to cover it up, allegedly, and left these people wounded and dying in the streets while they went out, vacationing. Now, obviously, they didn't actually leave them wounded and dying in the streets. For anyone who's watching this who's like, it's a figure of speech, okay? I'm just saying, like, these people they lost their child, and then the family that they had known for years, that these two were engaged. They were planning on getting married. Gabby trusted them. Gabby trusted Brian's family at one point, and she died trusting them, and then this is what happens after. Now, the family has requested a jury trial, and this is actually very telling. This suggests that the evidence that they have against the Laundries is convincing enough to present in front of a jury. So whatever they have, and everything that I just read to you that's in this lawsuit, I believe they have the receipts to back these claims up. Or else, I don't know that they would have requested a jury trial. It's kind of a big deal for them to request a jury trial for something like this. And, I guess the question is also, will this lead to any criminal charges? I don't know. I can definitely list a few charges that could be filed and, in a lot of instances would be filed, such as aiding and abetting, harboring a fugitive, accessory after the fact. If a lot of these claims are found to be true and there is proof to back these up, sure, the criminal charges could definitely be filed, but from what I understand, that's not happening, and that's not going to happen. And it makes me think. I was discussing this with my boyfriend, and he brought up Ethan Crumbly's case and how the parents are being charged for what the child did. And now, obviously, two completely different cases. I'm very well aware. Ethan is a minor, whereas Brian is an adult. But we have an issue here where Brian, the son, did a crime, and the parents allegedly helped conceal his whereabouts to keep him from being, arrested for that crime. They concealed the whereabouts of the victim, so the family couldn't even locate them or locate her. What would have happened if they didn't find her? Would they still be quiet right now? They probably would be. They have not said a damn word this whole entire time to help anyone but their son. And look where it got them. Now, if they really were planning on helping their son leave the country and he went and did this, the blood is on their hands. They didn't physically do anything to Gabby, but they certainly did not help the situation, and now their son is gone because of it. If you believe that he is in fact gone, and I do. Now, like I said, I have a feeling that's not going to happen. This civil suit is probably as close as we are going to get to any kind of justice for Gabby. And honestly, I think that's okay with the family. I think that for the family, like I said, it's not about money. It's about justice. And if there won't be any criminal charges filed, then at least more of the truth behind who these two people really are and what they did to Gabby and her family will be out there. And I think it would be enough for them that the Laundries are at least held accountable for their part, the part that they played in the pain and suffering of this family. Because remember too, I said a little bit ago, Gabby trusted Chris and Roberta. She was living with them at one point. They were going to be her in-laws. They were a second family to her, second parents to her. And, you know, look how they treated her and her family. Whatever the case may be, the result of this lawsuit will put many speculations on this case to rest. And I hope that it provides Gabby's family with the peace that they need and the justice that they all deserve. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And if you guys have any questions or if you've heard any other things come out, things are going to probably start to come out. You know, every day we might hear a little bit more of things. If you guys want to add to anything in the comment section, feel free to do so below. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for new videos. I do upload every week, and I will talk to you guys soon. I am working on a couple of other cases. I think we're going to do another suspicious death case next. We're going to talk about the, suspicious, we got to think of another word to call offing one's self on here so that I don't say it too much, because YouTube will flag it. But these people took their own lives, and under very suspicious circumstances at a very suspicious time in their life. And I'm talking about Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington. If you guys don't know who they are lead vocalists. Chris Cornell is from Soundgarden, who long time ago, back in the 80s, started. And then we also have Chester Bennington, who is the lead vocalist of Linkin Park, one of my personal favorites. Very, very odd circumstances surrounding the two of those. And while I was going to do one, I'm going to do both because they were best friends. And it seems that their deaths could be linked. So look for that. That's coming out, and have a great rest of your weekend. I hope you guys have had a great one so far, and I will talk to you guys soon.